Why am I headed to the venue on a Saturday night for NXT, man? I thought this show sucked. I thought NXT was the drizzling shits. What happened? Why are we going to the venue? Am I supposed to review NXT or something? Oh, that's right. I promised you guys a Vengeance Day review, man. I kind of regret it. My love for NXT is dead. I mean, it left me when Vince and Bruce killed it last year. Don't really want to see it again, but NXT Vengeance Day. It was all right. It was all right, man. We're not breaking any new ground here. We didn't see anything fresh. We didn't see anything that's going to break boundaries or anything, man. Oh, I mean, take it easy, man. Take it easy. There's some great talent on the bread. Don't get me wrong, but I think the highlight of the night was Dijak's broken finger. What a fucking match that was, huh? Oh, my goodness. Anyway, apparently I gotta open the venue. Jesse is homemaking Wagyu beef tacos because he's a fucking geek. I may have to be serving drinks myself anyway, man. They're all cold, so come on down. We're going to the venue. I got one question for you on this Saturday night. What the fuck are you guys drinking? I'll see you guys out there.
Why has Triple H been so successful? Why is Triple H running WWE better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard on Monday and Friday night? Long-term booking.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is your NXT Vengeance Day post show for February 4th, 2023. I'm your host, JD from New York. As always, coming to you live from the OTS venue. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Saturday evenings, wherever you may be. I don't know what I'm doing here. Man. It's almost as if I try to intentionally punish myself because I'm thinking, yeah, one of these days, man, I gotta check it out. I gotta watch it, and something's gonna happen. Something's gonna change, and I want to be on board when it actually happens and it feels like old. But we are never going to get the old NXT back. It's never going to happen. It's never going to come back. No aspect of it is going to come back. But Vengeance Day, to me, was a decent show. It wasn't offensive. It wasn't one of those shows that I just dread sitting through. I think everybody showed up tonight. I think everybody put on a great performance. The wrestling tonight was very good. And the one thing that actually helped NXT, and I've been saying this for months, and I don't really know what took them so long, is they needed to get out of the Performance Center. They needed to absolutely get out of the Performance Center, and that's exactly what they did tonight. They did that tonight, and it was a breath of fresh air for the entire NXT 2.0 brand. I was so happy to not feel the Performance Center crowd. I was so happy to not hear the cringy chants of the Performance Center crowd. Everybody that sits there for weekly NXT television is just a mindless drone. I could take a steaming fucking dump in the middle of the ring and they'd fucking give me a fight forever chant. They'd give me a holy shit chant. No pun intended. They're ridiculous. The same scenery, the same colors, the same vibe, the same look, everything. It was disgusting. WWE, for the first time since, I don't even know, when Black and Gold actually went back out. I mean, this may have been the first show since NXT TakeOver Portland. You guys remember NXT TakeOver Portland? Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic in that opening match. Unbelievable. This may have been the first. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. This may have been the first show since NXT TakeOver Portland. Or it might have been Stand and Deliver. I don't even know when the first Stand and Deliver was, but that was probably the last time we saw NXT out of the Performance Center. And it helped tremendously tonight. It helped tremendously tonight. I want to start off with the opening match. And we'll get into what we got to get into tonight. I want to start off with the opening match. And I'm not really expecting a big audience tonight because my audience, they know NXT is not where it's at. They know NXT is really at the bottom of the barrel when you're talking about pro wrestling for the week. But, you know, NXT does have its very, very talented performers. There's a handful of people on this show that are really just fucking great. And two of them are in the opening match. That was the match of the night for me. Nothing even came close to it. Wes Lee is fantastic. Dijakovic or Dijak, whatever the fuck they're talking about as far as his name and character is concerned, he's tremendous. Dijak is tremendous. He's always been tremendous. I don't know how Vince never seen anything in him. I mean, all he's been given for the last several years is these ridiculous stereotypes, these gimmicks, these characters that go nowhere. Changed his name to T-Bar. He was a walking meme for years. T-Bag in Retribution. It was just a joke. Then he goes back to NXT. He kind of reinvents himself. He's got this new moniker, this new character. I don't know what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to bring justice to NXT. And he's a take on the Big Boss Man. He's a take on Rob Halford of Judas Priest. I mean, I don't know what the fuck they got him out there looking like. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's got the beard. He's got a nice entrance. I'll give him that. The whole, you know, barbed wire fence that they got CGI'd for his entrance. It looks great. I mean, but the character itself, Dijak himself, is very forced. It's very forced. Optimus, suck my dick, Optimus. Optimus in the chat, 487. Suck my dick, bro. Do I have anything nice to say ever. Or what the fuck you listening to, bro? I just said Wes Lee was tremendous and Dijak was tremendous. What the fuck are you listening to? Why don't you turn off Fightful and go listen to fucking somebody that knows what the fuck they're talking about like myself? Get him out. I don't really understand the Dijak gimmick. I think Dijak has been saddled with this fucking gimmick. It sucks. I can't invest in Dijak with the gimmick that they've given him. He looks ridiculous. It's overly forced. I don't think that's really him. They got him speaking in this fucking monotone voice, using these big words. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Who is he? Why should I care about Dijak? I cared about Dijak when he was Feast Your Eyes and wrestling Keith Lee back in the black and gold. I mean, all they needed to do was give him what he was doing before with a little drastic change, a little bit of a drastic change. Nothing too much. Nothing too much, but they gave him a complete overhaul. They gave him a brand new character. Now, I understand Triple H, he doesn't really have much to do with NXT nowadays, so they say, but Shawn Michaels is running the show down there, and he's very character-driven. Everybody's got to have a fucking character. This is not Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard anymore. Why does everybody need a fucking character? Not everybody needs a character. Some people need a character. It's a great starting point. But not everybody needs a character. Dijak didn't need a fucking character. Have him go out there and beat the shit out of people. They got him looking like a second-rate fucking Judas Priest cosplay. Nobody wants to see that. Big Boss Man, Repo Man. These are the types of guys that I think back to when I was watching WWF back in my childhood. This is what Dijak looks. He comes out with the long trench coat. Looks like a fucking cartoon character out there. I think he deserves a lot better than what they've given him as a character. Then you got Wes Lee. And Wes Lee lost his goddamn tag team partner. And it was going to be a very, very huge uphill battle for Wes Lee. They fired his tag team partner so wrongfully. It was fucking ridiculous. Honestly. And I honestly didn't think there was much for Wes Lee on NXT, and I thought he was just going to be another casualty of the WWE machine. He's proved everybody wrong. Wes Lee has stood on his own 2 feet. He is the North American champion, and he is fucking fantastic. Fantastic. I don't want to make the comparisons to Ricochet because, everybody that gets in there is different from, a Ricochet that works that style, but I say Ricochet because Ricochet, when he's in there, he is so fucking fluid. He is so crisp. He is so clean in there. Everything he does is fucking beautiful in that ring. He sells. He makes everybody that he's in the ring with look fucking like $1 million. And that's what I see in Wes Lee. Wes Lee's a little bit smaller than a Ricochet. He's not as tall as Ricochet. Wes Lee fits into that category in the IWC where they label him a vanilla midget. Never really understood that terminology. But these are fucking people that got half a fucking brain cell operating. You don't really listen to those types of people. Wes Lee is a tremendous in-ring performer. And that's why we loved, what he was doing as a tag team. That's why we loved what they were doing. And now we don't have that. I figured we would have brought back his tag team partner by now, but I don't think that's really in the cards. But my God, did these two guys put on a fucking tremendous match. If there was any match that should have opened this show, they got that right with these two guys. Because it really reminded me of what a takeover match should be. This is not a takeover, obviously, but this was a match that was placed at the top of the card to open the show, and it really embodied what you missed about the black and gold. This was black and gold through and through. The only thing we were missing was Mauro Ranallo. That's all we were missing. I thought what they did was fantastic. Now, Dijak ended up with a broken finger here. I honestly did not even notice it while the match happened. When the closing sequence of the match happened, I did see him. I don't know where the fuck my mind was or where my eyes were. They were like half in my phone and then half on the TV screen. But I seen him hold his hand up in the air, and I thought he was just selling. Come to find out that he legitimately fucking snapped his finger in half, and he's laying there with a fucking finger that's fucking crooked, which was all over social media. Unbelievable. But that was a tremendous match to open the show. We'll go over what happened and break down that match in just a little bit. The other two people that I was very impressed with tonight, and I have been impressed with these two ladies for a little bit now, is Kayden Carter and Kacy Catanzaro, or Katana Chance. Now, you guys know how I feel about women's tag team wrestling. I think women's tag team wrestling is a complete waste of time in WWE. They got so many talented women, but they never seem to have gotten the tag team division right in NXT or on the main roster for that matter. The main roster tag team division is completely worthless. There's nothing there that's going on. We got tag team champions. Some people were telling me last night in my fucking chat that they did not even realize who the tag team champions were. They didn't realize that Dakota Kai and Io Shirai were the tag team champions on the main roster. Kind of tough. WWE really doesn't feature the tag team titles as much anymore. They're an afterthought. There are no legitimate tag teams in the WWE coming out of the women's division. They're always stitched together with fucking whatever, glued together with Elmer's glue, scotch tape it together. There's nothing more than random teams. But the thing I love about Kayden Carter and Katana Chance is that they're legitimately real-life best friends. They're roommates, I believe. They live together. They know each other inside and out. And then you see that real-life connection play out on TV and play out in the ring, and they're so fluid in what they do, and they're dynamic, and their double-team offense looks crisp, and it looks great. Everything they do in there looks great. You might not really realize it because Kacy Catanzaro is fucking tiny, but she does everything with a fluidity like Ricochet does and like Wes Lee does. That's her background. She should be excelling at that. And she's showing you. She's gotten a ton better from the first day we saw her. And Kayden Carter, I didn't really look at Kayden, as a top-tier in-ring performer in the women's division. She's been there for a while. But with Kacy, they are fucking great. And I said this on social media. I honestly think that they are the best women's tag team in the entire company. There's nobody even close in my honest opinion. And that includes Dakota Kai and Io Sky. They are the best women's tag team in the entire company. I would say they're probably the best women's tag team since the inception of those titles. They're the best women's tag team since Sasha Banks and Bayley, and then Asuka and Kairi Sane. The Kabuki Warriors, if you guys remember them. They are great. Why they lost the tag team championships tonight, I don't know. They lost the tag team championships, and it was a very head-scratching decision. A lot of people were saying, oh, yeah, they're going to get ready to get called up to the main roster. Is that the case? I could see that being the case. WWE could definitely use more tag teams on the main roster. I'd love to see them get a chance. They've been down there forever. I could see Triple H wanting them. I could see HBK letting them go. I mean, they got a whole fucking sea of women on the NXT roster. Some of which that are working the live show circuit now, or the house show circuit, that are ready to break out on television. So I could definitely see HBK saying, you know what? I'm going to let these two girls go. We're going to give our younger women a chance, and they ended up taking the titles off them with a possible main roster call-up looming for both Kacy and Kayden Carter. Which at that point, I don't mind. I really don't mind. But they are great. And I'm going to need you guys to keep an eye out for them because I think what they do is fantastic. The other thing that I was very much interested in was Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crews. I've always adored Apollo Crews' in-ring work. I think Apollo Crews is great. The only thing that Apollo Crews is lacking is that intensity when he speaks. And he is someone that doesn't really light up a room as far as charisma is concerned. Everything else, I mean, he's got a 5-star rating, and he's a great in-ring performer. He's got an incredible look. Everything about Apollo Crews is great, but the mic skill and the lacking of charisma. Now, Carmelo Hayes, he's got all that shit. Carmelo Hayes is heavily touted as the future of WWE, and it's not very difficult to figure out why. He's got everything. He's great in the ring. He's got great mic skills. He's got a great look. He's got charisma for days. I said this months ago. Even coming into this show, I'd say Carmelo Hayes is probably ready for the main roster. And after tonight, you can definitely see where Triple H is thinking, and you can see where Shawn Michaels is thinking. Shawn Michaels loves Carmelo Hayes. I don't think Shawn Michaels wants to let Carmelo Hayes go. He wants to get Carmelo Hayes absolutely ready before he lets him fly on his own. And I'm feeling that after tonight, you know where the NXT Stand and Deliver main event is going. We're getting Bron Breakker, we're getting Carmelo Hayes, and that is going to be a transfer of power in NXT. While one remains at the top in NXT, the other will fly to the main roster. I think it's pretty safe to say which one is going to the main roster after tonight's show. Now, I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought Carmelo was more apt for the main roster than Bron Breakker was, but apparently not. Not according to NXT officials anyway. The fuck do I know? That's just what I saw from my point of view on television. I thought Carmelo Hayes was absolutely ready for the main roster. He's good enough to be on WrestleMania this year, if they wanted him to. But it looks like Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker is going to be the way that they go for the world title program for NXT Stand and Deliver. And that should really be a special match because there's going to be a lot of feeling behind that one. Bron Breakker was the leader of the new generation here. He was given the ball, and he's gotten better month after month after month after month. He's ready for the main roster as well. I hope that they know what the fuck they're doing with him. That's my concern. And Triple H is in charge, I'm pretty sure. With his vision, he's always said, if someone's getting called up from NXT, I'm going to have a plan for them before they get here. Hopefully that still rings true. But Bron Breakker on the main roster, he's gotten better and better and better and better to a point where I can say, you know what? I think he's also ready. Can't go wrong with either one of them. He's quick. He's dynamic. He's explosive. He does things in there that he wasn't doing 12 months ago. His selling is a lot better. His movement is a lot better. He's not stumbling over himself. He's actually a veteran in that ring now. And I didn't really appreciate the fact that they gave him the ball out of everybody else and let him just go out there, and this is the guy. And I felt like I was going to feel some type of way because they chose him out of everybody. Like, he was the guy, and we never seen of him. We never heard of him before, and he was on TV, and he was in the world title program from day one and hasn't really seen anything but the world title since he's been there. But he's gotten better. He's had great matches. He's had great matches with Dolph Ziggler. He had a very good match tonight with Grayson Waller. I mean, the only down parts of Bron Breakker's NXT run was the feud with Joe Gacy. I thought that was fucking terrible. I thought that did him no favors. He's had great matches with Von Wagner. He's had great matches with Tony D'Angelo. There's a lot of guys down there that could take Bron Breakker's position, could take his spot, and you could make them the face of NXT. But it looks like that transfer power is going to Carmelo Hayes, and Carmelo Hayes is at least going to get some rub with the World Championship on Tuesday night. As for his match with Apollo Crews, I didn't really think it was a bad match. I thought it was a very good match. I thought it was a solid in-ring match, especially being a 2 out of 3 falls match. The only thing that I did not like about this match is that when you look at Apollo Crews and you look at somebody like Carmelo Hayes and you know the body of work that these two men are capable of, I didn't really think the match was explosive or as explosive as it should have been. I felt like the match was actually stagnant for a little bit. I was waiting and waiting and waiting for it to just get out of that fucking second, third gear and really kind of shift into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th gear and just fucking kill us. Just really make us jump out of our seat towards the end. I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and it never came. I thought they were going to slow play it in the first fall, do the typical shit, and give the other guy the other fall for fall number 2, and then they would go into the third and final fall even 1-1, and then they pick up the pace. It never picked up the pace. It never picked up the pace at all. But in the end, Carmelo Hayes ended up winning, and I'll tell you why in a bit. Carmelo Hayes ended up winning, and he actually took the 2 out of 3 falls stipulation 2-0. Apollo never won a fall, which is a very rare thing in a 2 out of 3 falls match. You know how WWE loves to do 1-1 and then go to the final fall. That's the typical pro wrestling thing to do. It's pro wrestling 101. Having a 2 out of 3 falls match, yep, we'll do 1-1. And then we'll go to fall number 3. Carmelo won 2-0. Good. If he's challenging Bron Breakker, he should look dominant for the World Championship. They don't want him losing at all going into Stand and Deliver. Outside that, I thought this show was a decent show. If I was to rate it out of a 10, I'd probably give it about a 5.5, 6 out of 10. It wasn't a blow-away show. It wasn't their best show. It might have housed their best match since the change in direction for the brand, but it wasn't their best show. But I thought it was a solid 3 hours of pro wrestling on a Saturday night that ultimately will be forgettable by the time we get on the road to WrestleMania and Stand and Deliver. With one standout match to me that was absolutely a great callback, a great throwback to the Black and Gold and what they did. Funny enough, Dijak was a part of that, and he's always put on bangers in NXT Black and Gold and was no different with Wes Lee here for the North American Championship. Thought it was a decent show, but it's nothing to really write home about for the NXT brand. The NXT brand is still struggling on Tuesday nights. They're not really lighting the world on fire. It's very cartoonish. The writing is terrible. The promo work is terrible. The way that it's shot is terrible. That crowd and Performance Center are terrible. I hate everything about the show. On Tuesday night, I hate everything about this show. When they do these types of shows, especially tonight being out of the Performance Center, it felt more like a Monday Night Raw. That's still not a good thing because NXT had its own identity and now they're just trying to mimic and copy what the main roster is doing. But Tuesday night is a fucking struggle to sit through. And I don't see that changing. In fact, I hope that when their TV rights deals are up, I hope that NBCU doesn't bring back NXT, and I hope that it gets fucking canceled off of USA Network. Because it never should have been on the USA Network to begin with. I really honestly feel like the show should be moved back to the WWE Network. That's where it should go. It should be housed on the WWE Network, and they have free reign to do whatever the fuck that they want. They're so stuck in their mentality about demos and ratings and all this other shit, and they're trying to put on a show that gravitates to the casual viewer watching on the USA Network. Meanwhile, it's actually what killed the brand. They move it back to the WWE Network. I'd love to see it go back to somewhat of what it was. Raw. Raw in the writing. Raw in the ring. Just unfiltered. There's nothing about NXT that makes me want to watch the show on Tuesday night. There was barely any interest from myself to these matches on this show tonight. But I can't slight the in-ring work because the in-ring work was great. And when you got guys like Wes Lee and Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crews and Dijak in the ring, it's very difficult to say that they have a bad match. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you NXT is a good show because they had one good show tonight. It is still a miserable watch. But there are wrestlers on that show that WWE is very lucky to have. And we're going to break this thing down right here on Off the Script. I appreciate you guys watching me on this Saturday night. We got almost 1,500 people in the OTS venue. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That is Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Make sure you guys go check out the SmackDown post show from earlier today. I was not live on Friday night like I usually am with SmackDown because I was doing my commentary gig at House of Glory in Queens, New York. So we decided to go live this afternoon, and I'm glad most of you still tuned in to watch the SmackDown post. Really great discussion on that podcast earlier today. Go check that out. As well as all the other content on the channel. AEW Dynamite, Off the Script, episode 462, Monday Night Raw. Lots of shit there. And we got more coming tomorrow night. We'll be live with episode 463 of the podcast. Thank you guys very much for all your support. Make sure you guys get those super chats in. We'll hang out at the end of the show. I got my cold beverage on ice. Memberships always open. Get them on in and become a part of the OTS VIP Club. You guys get access to exclusive emotes, badges, live stream members-only chats, which will be tomorrow. And most importantly, you guys get a sneak peek of the work being done for the latest design, my mother's basement. It's going to be epic. And tonight's show is sponsored by Manscaped, manscaped.com. You guys are going to use that code SCRIPT20 at checkout. Save yourself 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped.com. As always, a great friend and a great sponsor of the podcast. Right here on OTS. We're going to start this NXT Vengeance Day post-show off with Wes Lee and Dijak. This was easily the best match of the night. Easily the best match of the entire night. Now, you guys know how I describe Dijak's appearance and his character and his gimmick work. I am not a fan of what they've done to him as far as the gimmick work. And I'm going to try to really just overlook that because he's such a great in-ring performer. He's big. He knows how to move. He does things in there as a big man that he should not be doing. And he worked great with Wes Lee. And he was easily accessible for Wes Lee to do things that I didn't think Wes Lee was going to be capable of with a man like Dijak's size. And this ended up being an excellent open. This may go down as probably one of the best NXT matches that you see all year. No doubt about it. So, Dijak, obviously bigger than Wes Lee, used his size. He took down Wes Lee with some shoulder blocks. Wes Lee was trying to evade him, and Wes Lee got a boot in the face for his troubles. Dijak, he had been put in a waistlock, and a German suplex attempt by Wes Lee happened, but Lee, he ended up coming back with a springboard Rana that sent Dijak out to the floor. Dijak caught Wes Lee on a dive, dumped him on the floor with a Death Valley driver that looked absolutely ridiculous. He looked like he just smashed his head on the mat on the outside, neck and shoulder first. So Dijak's back in the ring with Lee, and he's in there, sends him across the ring with a suplex. Dijak drove Lee down into his knee before flinging him over the top rope to the floor, and Wes Lee, man, he's flipping and flopping all over the place. He's selling his ass off for Dijak, trying to make Dijak and the offense of Dijak look incredible. And that's exactly what you get when Wes Lee's in there. Great shit. So Dijak's using those big blows, using that just big man advantage over Wes Lee. Lee ducked a corner charge, sending Dijak over the top rope. He goes out to the outside. Dijak got back in the ring quickly. This is where Wes Lee kind of just went at him with some shots before dropping him with a basement dropkick. Another attempt of a German suplex here. This one was blocked. Thrust kick helped Lee get Dijak up for a German and a near fall. He powered him up. That got a big pop from the crowd in Charlotte. Dijak and Lee ended up on the apron. This is where Wes Lee sent Dijak onto the apron with a backdrop. That looked like it fucking sucked. Dijak, I don't know if he hit wrist first, ribs first, side first. I don't know. Head first. Sounded nasty. So he goes and hits the apron hard. Lee hit a spinning flying tiger drop tilt-a-whirl in the air. He dives over the ropes. Big NXT chance here from Charlotte. Wes Lee went for a springboard kick. He was caught in Feast Your Eyes. So Dijak's got him up in the Feast Your Eyes. Lee reversed it into a Poison Rana. I didn't think he was going to get him over in the Poison Rana, but he ended up getting him over, and it looked great. Then he followed it with a Michinoku driver for a 2 count, popped the crowd pretty big. Dijak avoided a 450, caught Lee on a springboard, hit a massive choke slam for a near fall 2 count. Dijak then locked on a crossface chicken wing. Lee tried to roll out. Dijak held on. He hooked it in even deeper. Lee was fading, but fought back to his feet, getting the crowd riled up here. Dijak brought him into another Feast Your Eyes position. This is basically to go to sleep. But Lee reversed it into a roll-up. He got a near fall 2 count. Lee started peppering him with some strikes. Dijak took him down with another big boot. He then hits a super kick, a lariat, goes for cover, only gets a 2 count. We're getting some great false finishes here by Dominik Dijakovic. So we got a close-up in this part of the finger. And I didn't really pay attention to it until I seen the fucking replay. We got a close-up of the finger. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Had to look on social media because I missed it in live. I wasn't really paying all that much attention. I had my phone in my hand. My head was in my phone. I was tweeting and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, we see this fucking guy's finger just completely disjointed and dislocated. Nasty. No, but wrestling's fake, they say. Why don't we ask Dijak about what happened to his hand? I'm sure it was nothing more than an optical illusion. Maybe he's a magician. Maybe he's a wizard, like Chris Jericho. Who knows? Dijak brought Lee up to the top rope. How he managed to continue this match with his finger that way, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Give the guy some credit. Brought Lee up to the top rope for a powerbomb. Lee reversed it into a Rana that dropped Dijak on his head. Lee hit a spiral tap for a very close near fall. Lee went for a suicide dive. Dijak threw him into the barricade. Dijak put Lee in a rolling chair at ringside, restrained him, and strapped him in by putting a broom through the chair arms and locking him in place. Dijak went to the top. He was ready to hit his big moonsault onto Wes Lee sitting in this chair. All of a sudden, Tony D'Angelo, bro. Tony D out there. He's looking for a nice Italian recommendation over there in Charlotte. Yo, bro, how many different Italian restaurants do we got in Charlotte, and which one do I got to go to? Tony D. I don't know what he was doing out there, but they weren't serving chicken parmesan and meatballs out there by ringside, I'll tell you that. So Tony D with Stacks is out there. He pushed Lee out of the way. Dijak got super kicked out of there by Wes Lee, who followed it up with a handspring Pele kick to retain the North American Championship. So after the moonsault, Wes Lee escapes this thing. He gets rolled out of the way, thanks to Stacks and Tony D'Angelo. He does a moonsault off the top rope, does Dijak onto these two clowns. Then he gets back in the ring, and Lee hits a Pele kick, 1, 2, 3, and that's the way the match ended. I thought this was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic stuff. You know, I know a lot of people don't like the false finishes, kick out, kick out, kick out, kick out. I like that shit. I like that shit. They made it look all believable. I thought these guys worked incredibly well together. Seemingly, it looks like Dijak is going to continue his feud with Tony D'Angelo. I would not be opposed to Dijak winning the championship at some point away from Wes Lee after he finishes with Tony D'Angelo. Maybe we get a rematch at Stand and Deliver. I don't know. But I think after this performance tonight, we know what Dijak can bring to the table. And I think Dijak deserves another shot, especially with the outside interference tonight by Tony D'Angelo and Stacks. So I thought that was a great match. And Wes Lee retains the North American Championship. Absolutely fucking awesome. Absolutely awesome. I was very worried about Wes Lee's direction on the brand with Nash Carter gone. I really was worried. And them as a tag team, they were fucking great. Now, that's a team that could have gotten over on the main roster, especially with Triple H in charge now, Wes Lee and Nash Carter on the main roster, right, doing their thing, kind of like a modern day new age Hardys out there fucking flipping and diving and getting people going crazy with their high offensive aerial attacks. They were great. They were great. But the longer we are without Nash Carter, Wes Lee is fucking ascending the ranks in NXT. And my God, does he look fucking great. Happy for him, man. I really am happy for him. What a tremendous fucking talent. And if you don't like what Wes Lee's bringing to the table, man, I'm going to need you guys to open your fucking eyes. Seriously. Dijak's another one. Not too keen on the gimmick. I'm not crazy about the gimmick. I think it's rather cringy. I think it's lame. But this man is fucking tremendous. Tremendous. And the fact that he worked this entire last portion of the match with a fucking possible broken finger there, it looked gnarly. You got to give him all the same amount of credit as you give Wes Lee. Hopefully they do something to make his character and his gimmick a little bit more less forced. It's very overproduced. He sounds like he's a fucking villain in a video game. There's no human qualities to him. That's my problem. It doesn't come off as organic. I can't grade him on his wrestling alone. We know how great he is. I want him to take all these other aspects and kind of blend them together and everything kind of work out for the best here. Don't know if Triple H or Shawn Michaels, whoever the management team is on NXT, really grasps that. It's one of the reasons why people don't watch NXT. It's rather cartoonish. I don't want to see somebody like Dijak have this cartoonish gimmick when I know how great he is. This guy got a fucking absolute shit sandwich handed to him on the main roster, and he's got to go back to NXT to be riddled with another fucking character, not as bad as T-Bar, but this man has the in-ring ability to be on the main roster, and he's back on NXT. Hopefully they figure it out. Hopefully they figure it out. But this was a tremendous match. You want a takeover-like match on this new version of NXT 3.0? This was it. All this was missing was Mauro Ranallo on the call, who apparently was doing Bellator 290 tonight, and I had to watch some clips on Twitter because, my God, do I miss that man's voice. Absolutely adore that man. I miss that man's voice tremendously. Wes Lee retains the North American Championship. NXT Women's Tag Team title match, Fallon Henley and Kiana James. They were with Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs. They actually defeated Katana Chance and Kayden Carter to win the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. They are the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Now, I wasn't sure if this was the right decision at all, but a lot of people were telling me that Kayden Carter and Katana Chance are ready for a call-up to the main roster. This was fine for what it was. There was, a lot of spots here where really nothing substantial happened, in my honest opinion. I thought the teams here, these two teams worked okay together. Nothing really stood out to me as special with these two teams. Kiana James is somebody that I think has a great look, and I do think she's gotten a lot better from day one. She was also there in the very beginning when they completely transformed this brand. She's actually gotten a lot better. She moves very well in the ring. I'm not really too keen on Fallon Henley. I just don't really get what she is, and I don't really get the vibe of Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs. I mean, that kind of falls in line with what I think of Dijak. I mean, it's very difficult for me to invest my time in these characters when they really aren't relatable. They just play characters on TV, and there's nothing identifiable about them. There's nothing relatable to them where I'm going to be like, oh, man, I want to watch that guy. I'm going to watch that guy or what they're doing per storyline. There's nothing relatable there for me to sit and be like, oh, man, I want to see these three on my TV every week. Now, Kayden Carter and Katana Chance, I'm more apt to kind of feel for them because they were in the black and gold. We know what they were capable of. We know how long they've been there. So I'm more apt for them. I'm more kind of invested in them because they were a part of what we loved with the old NXT. And they're still there. So yes, I'm going to choose them over the new class, but at the end of this, I didn't really think this was the right decision to make. Maybe it was to you, but is the NXT Women's Tag Team titles or the Tag Team division here or the Women's division going to be a great division? Is it going to be the division you want it to be with Fallon Henley and Kiana James, who are basically rookies holding the Tag Team Championships? I don't know. I would figure you want two leaders in that division to lead all the other women along and get what they need out of them to lead the young class before you call them up. Maybe they're getting ready to get called up now and there's really nothing else to teach the young class. I have no idea. I thought this was a mistake. So the match itself was not anything all that special. Katana Chance and Kayden Carter, their offense is really great. Really great. Carter and Chance hit a double team move on Henley. James tagged in, dropped Chance with a backbreaker. Henley tagged in and hit a snapmare for a near fall. Henley worked over Chance for a little bit before Carter snuck in a tag. She ran wild, dropped Henley with a dropkick in the ropes. Carter boosted Chance over her head to hit a crossbody on both. James tagged in, but got caught with a Carter-assisted Rana from Chance, which looked great. James cut her off with a nice-looking spine buster for a near fall. Kiana James got her knees up on a double-team moonsault before tagging Henley in, and Henley and James hit an assisted Michi Noku driver for a near fall. The ending of the match comes. Carter took James out with a dive out to the floor. Henley got caught in the corner of Kayden and Katana, where Chance hit a super Frankensteiner off of Carter's shoulders for a 2 count. Really great stuff there. So then they go for their finish. James shoved Katana Chance off the top rope to the floor. She hits hard. Henley rolled up Carter with James holding Carter's feet from the outside in a leverage pin. 1, 2, 3. And they got the tag team titles in very, very suspect ways. So they got the tag team titles. They cheated to win behind the referee's back. And Katana Chance and Kayden Carter could be looking at a main roster call-up when all is said and done. Again, I think that they are the right team to continue going with. I didn't think giving it to the two young ladies here was the right idea, but what the fuck do I know? If they feel like Katana Chance and Kayden Carter could add more to the women's division on the main roster, then so be it. So be it. They got so many women on the NXT circuit that they're basically busting at the seams to get some of the ladies on television. So if that is their decision here to move Kayden and Katana up, good. They've been there forever. I mean, Casey Catanzaro was in the first ever, not the Cruiserweight, the first ever Mae Young Classic, I believe. How many years ago was that? I mean, Kayden Carter's been there for how long? She's been there a while, too. I mean, there comes a time where, you're just running around in circles doing the same fucking thing. Maybe they get called up. Maybe they get one more match. Maybe they put them over clean because they cheated here. Kiana James and Fallon Henley cheated here. Maybe they put them over clean one more time and they get called up. I don't know. But we got new women's tag team champions. I just wish it was a little bit more important because I didn't really feel like anybody really popped for Kiana James and Fallon Henley winning the tag team championships. New champions. Apollo Crews. He went one-on-one with Carmelo Hayes. This was a 2 out of 3 falls match. I was looking forward to this because I know how great these guys can be. But man, oh man, was this a little bit of a letdown because I expected them to go longer than anything on this show, being that we know Carmelo could go, we know Apollo can go. They've been building this thing up on TV. Who's better than who? They traded victories back and forth. Apollo got 1 victory, then Carmelo Hayes beat him. They tied 1-1. Let's do the third match. Let's do 2 out of 3 falls. They're in the barbershop. They're talking shit to each other. Let's do it 2 out of 3 falls to see who really is the best. This was disappointing. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong. But it lacked urgency. There was nothing really memorable about it. And it's nothing more than a stepping stone for getting Carmelo Hayes to where Shawn Michaels wants Carmelo Hayes to be. And that is the NXT World Champion. They never got out of the second gear, third gear. They never shifted into that fucking hyper overdrive like we know Apollo could do, like we know Carmelo could do. It kind of sat at the second, third, maybe fourth gear. It never really kind of moved after that. The first fall was slow. They were working a very slow pace, very methodical pace, feeling each other out. I expected maybe we get to the second fall. They shifted into overdrive. We get into fucking gear 7, 8, 9, right? Never got there. By the second fall, the match was over. And there was an outside interference in this thing by somebody that we are very familiar with as it pertains to Apollo Crews. But this was kind of a letdown. And if you felt like this was a letdown, I'm right there with you because it was a letdown. Knowing what these two guys can do, it wasn't as good as it should have been. So, they're in there at the start. They're chain wrestling. Stalemate between these two guys. They had a nice little back and forth. They slapped each other, kind of trying to rile each other up. Crews sent Hayes hard into the buckles, sternum first. Backbreaker from Crews led to a German suplex attempt. Hayes cut him off. Crews caught Hayes on a springboard, got his German suplex off. So they keep going back and forth here. Nothing really overly memorable here with these two guys at all, like I said. So Trick Williams is at ringside, and he's praying for a comeback for Carmelo Hayes. So he gets his prayer here. He got Apollo did Hayes. He hit a La Mystica for a near fall. Elevated cutter, got another 2 count. Hayes locked on a crossface, and Apollo Crews tapped out for the first fall going to Carmelo Hayes, and he taps out to the crossface. So Carmelo Hayes is up 1-0. Great. Now, I expected the match to be shifted into the next gear and then the next couple of gears, and Apollo's going to come back swinging. He's going to up the fucking momentum. He's going to up the speed of this match. They're going to go fucking take our breath away in this thing. Never happened. Never happened. So they take a little bit to start the second fall. Crews popped a trio of German suplexes here. Hits a standing shooting star press. Goes for a cover, gets a 2 count. Hayes cut Crews off on the top rope. Hit a a big leg drop for a near fall. Crews rebounded with a DDT. It almost looked like a fucking destroyer-like DDT or a Spanish fly-like DDT. He gets a 2 count off that. Both men get up. They go to the top rope, and they're knocking each other to the floor. Hayes shoved Crews down to try and win by countout on the outside. He's like, let me shove this guy down. They were trying to really sell the referee's 10 count. Crews is on the outside. Carmelo's on the outside. He shoves Apollo Crews down. Referee's continuing the count. Carmelo gets back in the ring. Apollo makes it back in by a 9 count. Crews caught Hayes with a jumping knee. Delivers a angle slam. Hayes comes back with a code breaker. Crews comes back again with a pop-up Death Valley driver. So things are going well. They're hitting their moves. Everything looks clean. But nothing ever really got shifted into that next gear. Williams got himself involved again. Referee had his back turned. He jumps on the ring apron, takes off the ring turnbuckle pad. He exposes the turnbuckle. So he goes to the outside again, walks around the ring. He goes to tell Carmelo that he took the turnbuckle pad off. And now Carmelo knows about it. Crews fired up. He sent Hayes into the buckle himself, and Carmelo never even got to use it. So Trick Williams tried using a chair before we see Commander Aziz. Commander Aziz is back on NXT television. He is now Daba Kato. If you guys remember Aziz, he was with Apollo Crews while he was doing that whole Nigerian shtick on the main roster. Fucking cartoon character that he was. So somehow Hayes got the advantage out of Daba Kato being out there. He hit a diving leg drop, and he just pins Apollo. All I see here is Apollo Crews look at Daba Kato. He gives him a high five. Somehow he was supposed to be out there to help Apollo Crews win the match or win the fall. All of a sudden, I see Apollo Crews get nailed with a move. He gets the big leg drop done to him by Carmelo Hayes. 1, 2, 3, and Carmelo Hayes wins the second fall and wins the 2 out of 3 falls match. Very anticlimactic ending to a match that I felt like it could have been so much better than what it was in the ring, or what they gave us. After the match was over, Dabba-Kato gets in the ring. He hugs Apollo Crews. We got this little reunion of sorts. And all of a sudden, Dabba-Kato headbutts Apollo Crews. And then he chokeslams him on a chair. Sit out, chokeslam, powerbomb on a steel chair. The one that Trick Williams brought into the ring earlier. And lays out Apollo Crews. I don't know why he tried to help him win the match then. This is what I was concerned with. Why the fuck did he help him? Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just out there to cause a fucking distraction for Carmelo Hayes. I have no fucking idea. But he was out there. It looked like to me he was trying to help Apollo Crews win the match. And then he gets into the ring and beats the shit out of this guy. So now we're looking at Apollo Crews move on from Carmelo Hayes and feud with Dabba-Kato. Commander Aziz. This is the brainchild of Shawn Michaels. I don't know who's going to be interested in Dabba-Kato versus Apollo Crews on Tuesday night. I know I won't be watching. You going to be watching? That's the best you got. Apollo Crews moved back down to NXT to basically be put in the same fucking shit that he was doing on the main roster. I don't get it. Men's tag team title match. This was a fatal four-way. Gallus, New Day, Pretty Deadly, and Chase U for the NXT Tag Team Championships. This was actually the match I was looking forward to least out of the entire show. Because I don't really have any investment or any feelings towards any of these tags. New Day, I mean, we see the New Day every fucking week on Friday night. Now I got to see the New Day on Tuesday night. It's not like they're a different version of the New Day. They're the same fucking New Day. You got Chase U, right? You got Duke Hudson out there with Andre Chase. You know, they are a cool tag team. I don't get why Andre Chase wrestles in a fucking sweater, but they're a cool-looking tag team. I think they got a little bit of something going on there. Then you got Gallus, which I don't really have any affiliation to either because they came over from NXT UK and they really haven't been on television at all. The only people from NXT UK that I really had any emotional investment towards was JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov. They weren't on this show at all. Tyler Bate, Mustache Mountain in general, and the Imperium guys. That's it. That's all I really had an emotional tie to. And most of which weren't even on this show. And Imperium is on the main roster, and they're doing their thing on SmackDown. I wasn't really big on Gallus in NXT UK. They pretty much took over after all the other guys, after Imperium and Walter had kind of moved on to do bigger and better things. And Pretty Deadly, I mean, I know some people enjoyed their shtick. I don't. I think it's cringy. I think it's very Vince McMahon-esque. If I wanted a fucking cosplay, much less interesting Beverly Brothers, I mean, I just go watch fucking early 90s WWF and watch Bo and Blake do their thing as the Beverly Brothers. I don't need Pretty fucking Deadly here on NXT. To do it a lot less humorous and more cringy. That's just me. I did not care about this match. This is what you would expect with the run-of-the-mill multi-man matches in WWE. This got off to a very slow and uninspired start, is what I described on social media. This ended up becoming a very chaotic and a very fun, down-the-stretch fatal four-way. Man, this became exactly what I needed it to be. Fun. And that's what it was. Everybody did their part. Everybody looked very good here. These 8 guys did what they did and brought it to a fun match. 2 legal men at a time. Obviously, these fatal four-ways. You got 4 corners, four teams, 2 men in at a time. This was crazy. So, we're going to speed it up towards the end because, I mean, this is just your run-of-the-mill, crazy tag team, fatal four-way matches. So, Gallus, they're on the outside. So we got Chase. Andre Chase is about to be put through a table. And Hudson saved his teacher, his tag team partner. So Hudson fought off Gallus, pretty deadly, then go to the outside, cut him off, and tried to suplex him through the table. But Duke Hudson fought them off. Pretty deadly sent him into the ring before putting the table cover back on. Fans wanted the table to be broken. They were like, nope, we're not going to break the table. We're going to put the table cover back on. We're going to put the monitors back on the table. So they did not break the table at all. Hudson fired up, took out Pretty Deadly. Gallus got their hands on Hudson, sent him through the announce table anyway with a big power bomb. Fans got what they wanted. So Gallus then isolated Andre Chase, who was in his hometown here. Chase was able to get Wolfgang out of the equation and hit. I love this, man. This is one of my favorite things in all of NXT, is these Chase U fucking stomps by Andre Chase. He spells out Chase U, and then as the crowd yell Chase U like they're fucking cheerleaders. I love it. I think that's fucking great. He looks a little silly wrestling in the college sweater, but I thought he looked very good in this match. I thought Chase U looked good. I love that spot. I think it's cool. I was sports entertained. So he does the Chase U stomps. Big crossbody off the top rope by Andre Chase on Joe Coffey, I believe. He got a near fall. Chase locked on a figure four in the center of the ring. Wolfgang hit a swanton to cut him off. Then we got Gallus power slamming Andre Chase for a 2. Kofi Kingston cut off another big move here done by Gallus, but Pretty Deadly caught him coming off the top rope on a dive, and he spilled out to the floor. Woods got isolated by Gallus on the other side of the ring, and they hit their tag team power slam for the tag team titles, and Gallus wins the NXT Tag Team Championships. Now, I don't know if that was the right decision there. I feel like maybe, you wanted to give the tag team championships to Kiana James and Fallon Henley. I think this crowd would have popped pretty decently if Duke Hudson and Andre Chase won the tag team championships. Gallus has seen success in NXT UK. I don't really see that translated to the States here with NXT on Tuesday night. I thought this was another mistake, to be quite honest with you. I don't think Gallus needed to be put over here. I think a team like Andre Chase and Duke Hudson should have been the team to be put over. Yes, they were in their hometown, but that's the type of team you want to kind of put over in this situation. Pretty Deadly seen the tag team title situation. Gallus has seen it in NXT UK. The New Day, that goes without saying. But Chase U, I feel like they had a good match, and I feel like they could have had a nice little moment here if they were given the tag team championships, and that didn't happen. So Gallus wins the tag team championships. Very fun match down the stretch. Not really overly enthused with the outcome, but we'll see what Shawn Michaels has in store for the Gallus guys on Tuesday night. I feel like Chase U would have been a better choice as tag team champions. Women's Championship. This is Roxanne Perez against Gigi Dolin and Jacey Jane in a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. This was more like a handicap match for most of it until WWE wanted to sell us on the fact that Gigi Dolin and Jacey Jane were about to go at it, and now it's every woman for themselves. This is basically WWE continuing the extension of Roxanne Perez and her title victory over Mandy Rose, where Mandy Rose then left WWE after that. She got fired from WWE. And Roxanne Perez was continuing the feud with Toxic Attraction in the weeks after Mandy Rose had left us on Tuesday night. Not something that, again, I was overly interested in. And I think Roxanne Perez is great. I think there are big things in store for Roxanne Perez. But this was more of your run-of-the-mill, very formulaic triple threat matches in WWE. And I don't think the crowd was necessarily into this thing a whole lot either, which kind of took me out of the match and made me become disinterested. Because I don't really care about Gigi Dolin. I don't care about Jacey Jane. I think they are still green as grass. I think they are not very good in ring. I know you guys love Toxic Attraction. I know you love, all of their gleaming assets, but that doesn't make them good professional wrestlers. I think Gigi Dolin and Jacey Jane are still green as fuck in the ring. And I do not think that they're ready at all. Nowhere close to a main roster run. Roxanne Perez is so much further along than these two ladies, and she's been there less than a year. They've owned this fucking brand since the beginnings of 2.0. How is that possible? All this match showed to me was that Roxanne Perez is leagues above everybody else in the fucking division. Just being there 10 months. This is Roxanne Perez, and the rest of the division is struggling to stay behind, to catch up. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Without Mandy Rose, Toxic Attraction is dead. I don't know what they're doing with Toxic Attraction. I don't know what they plan for Gigi Dolin by herself. I don't know what they plan for Jacey Jane by herself. I, quite frankly, don't even care. They are just not entertaining characters. They're not. Without Mandy, they are absolutely directionless and lifeless. Going nowhere. Very formulaic. Triple threat match here. Perez ran wild. Middle of the match on both ladies, dropping them with a leg sweep DDT combo. Jacey Jane caught Perez and tied her in a tree of woe on top of Dolin. This was at the point where Gigi Dolin and Jacey Jane had kind of argued, and then they went at it back and forth, and then they tried to kind of come to an agreement later in the match. Let's work together and then take her out, and then we'll worry about each other. So they tried to bargain a truce earlier in the match after kind of seeing themselves in this situation. Hey, this is every woman for themselves. So, Perez started going wild on both ladies. Jacey Jane caught Perez, tied her up in a tree of woe on top of Gigi Dolin. She had a cannonball on both women and followed it up with a running knee to Perez. Dolin broke up the cover. And then we had Gigi and Jacey brawling, with Jacey getting the better of it. Perez got pop rocks, countered by Dolin into an STO. Dolin hit a suplex with a bridge before Jane broke it up. So there were dueling chants here for Gigi and Perez. Fuck Jacey Jane, I guess. Dolin and Jane super kicked Perez. Then they headbutted each other, and they kind of wanted to do this spot where they headbutted each other and they would both fall on Roxanne Perez and both make a cover at the same time. But Gigi fell on top of Roxanne Perez, and Gigi was the only one covering. And then Jacey Jane fell on top, kind of, and then had to roll over and put her arm on it because she completely missed the spot. Very sloppy. Very sloppy. They went for the double pinfall, and it didn't really work out as they planned. Dolin and Jane sent Perez to the floor. They pulled out a table. Perez fought out, hitting pop rocks on Dolin on the floor, which looked great. That's her finishing move, by the way. It's nothing more than a code red. Jane and Perez ended up on the top rope. Dolin tried to get involved, but Perez booted her through the table down below. Perez then hit Jacey Jane with a top rope pop rocks for the 1-2-3, and Roxanne Perez retains the NXT Women's Championship. There's nothing special about the match. I don't know what you guys want me to say about the match. All this match really did, like I told you, is show you where Roxanne Perez ranks in the WWE Women's locker room and where Gigi Dolin and Jacey Jane rank. Roxanne's up here. She's the top of the mountain, and then everybody else, they're nowhere even close to her. I don't know who is, honestly. Roxanne Perez is by far and away the best thing in that division from an in-ring aspect. Cora Jade has the potential to get there. Nikita Lyons is out. She's been injury-riddled the last several months. She's going to be out for quite a while with this latest injury. Zoe Stark is very good, but I don't really have an emotional attachment to Zoe Stark. Tiffany Stratton is fucking great. That's the match. That's the match. Give me a nice story between Roxanne Perez and Tiffany Stratton going into Stand and Deliver, and give the division to Tiffany Stratton. I think Roxanne is ready for the main roster. They might not want to call Roxanne. Triple H may want Roxanne, and Shawn Michaels might not be willing to part with Roxanne Perez this soon. But, I mean, what is she going to do down there that she hasn't done already in the last 10 months? They put the tag team titles on Fallon Henley and Kiana James, yet we got Roxanne Perez, who's by far and away the best woman in ring in the entire division. So if you want to put the titles on two rookies, then why don't we put the title on Tiffany Stratton? Get Roxanne out of there. She's ready to go. Got the makings of the next Bayley, the next Sasha written all over her. Get Kayden Carter, Katana Chance up there. They got enough women on NXT where you probably won't even realize that they are missing. And my God, does the women's division on SmackDown need fucking help? Roxanne would be a huge boost to the women's division. That's my title match. Tiffany Stratton versus Roxanne Perez for the women's championship. That's stand and deliver. We'll see what happens. But this was just your run-of-the-mill, very formulaic, very standard NXT triple threat match. WWE triple threat match. There was nothing special here. Main event. Bron Breakker versus Grayson Waller. NXT Championship match. Match conducted inside of a steel cage. Now, I mean, I enjoy a good steel cage match every now and then. But, again, just like the Apollo Crews and Carmelo Hayes match, a guy like Waller and a guy like Breakker, we know what they can do. This match was fine. It's not going to break down any barriers. It's not going to be a memorable match in WWE's history or anything. This match suffered the same thing that Apollo Crews and Carmelo Hayes suffered from, and the fact that it did not get out of the second, third gear. It never really got out of that slow, methodical, steadfast pace. I'm waiting for something to happen. I'm waiting for the momentum to shift. I'm waiting for something to happen in this match where it's like, oh shit, look at this. Nothing. Nothing. Not that it's bad. It's just not overly exciting. And I don't think anybody really expected Grayson Waller to win the title here. I don't think anybody expected Grayson Waller to beat Bron Breakker. What the fuck are we doing? Did it need to be a steel cage match? That's the other question I had. Did it need to be a steel cage match? What was the steel cage match stipulation there for? No real reason. Just to give something a big selling point on the night. Did it need to be a steel cage match? No, it did not. This match can only end by pinfall or submission in the ring. WWE has gotten rid of I don't really mind it. It's more of an old school thing. Tony Khan did that with the last steel cage match as well with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Pinfall or submission in the middle of the ring. No more climbing over the top rope. No feet hitting the floor. Deal. So, Waller jumped Breakker before he got in the cage. Waller dodged a spear. Breakker stopped short of the barricade and clotheslined a Grayson Waller who wanted to celebrate. Breakker sent the door into Waller's face before both of them get locked into the cage and in the ring. Breakker ran wild. He was bouncing off the ropes in the cage before dropping Waller with a big clothesline. Breakker hit a delayed vertical suplex before hitting a standing moonsault. Waller got out of a power slam situation and played keep away here, trying to run away from Bron Breakker before landing his big satellite DDT for a near fall. Waller started working over Breakker. Breakker caught him with a belly-to-belly suplex. Breakker hit Waller with another power slam. Hits a top rope bulldog on Grayson Waller. Speeding things up here. Breakker was in control. He went to finish off with a spear. Waller rolled to the apron, which there really is no apron. It's just, outside the ropes there with the cage there blocking his exit. Dodged a spear, sending Breakker into the cage head first. Waller laid in some punches. He's on the offensive attack here. He threw Breakker into the cage again. Waller hit a crossbody on Breakker against the cage. Breakker caught him on a second attempt. Waller fought out, sent Breakker into the cage before hitting a very good-looking Unprettier. That was probably one of my favorite points in the match, that Unprettier. It looked fucking great on Bron Breakker. He went for a near fall there, only got a 2 count. So Waller went to the top rope. Bron Breakker followed him up. This is where we're kind of getting towards the end of the match. Breakker followed him up, hit a top rope Frankenstein, which looked great for a near fall. Breakker came off the top rope, but Waller caught him with a jumping knee. Waller hit a crossover elbow off the top. Only got a 2 off the pinfall. Then Waller gets Breakker up, tackled Breakker twice. Breakker started to fire up, and he starts just throwing Grayson Waller all over the fucking cage, into the cage. Breakker press slammed Waller into the cage and set up for the spear. Waller avoided it. He hit a low blow on Bron Breakker. Waller hit his rolling stunner, but only got a 2 count. That was it. That was his time. He only got 1 chance. He failed. Waller went to the top of the cage. He went for a big social media moment. He wanted to go viral. Breakker met him up top. Big superplex all the way down off the top of the cage. Breakker hit the spear, pulled the straps down. Breakker told Waller off. I think Grayson Waller just told Bron Breakker as he looked up at him, just finish me, please. So he hit a massive spear for a second time. 1, 2, 3, and Bron Breakker retains the NXT Championship as the main event comes to a close. At the end of the show, Carmelo Hayes walks out, looks at Bron Breakker as he's sitting atop the cage holding up the NXT Championship. There's your main event for NXT Stand and Deliver. Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker in the main event for the NXT Championship WrestleMania weekend. The show was fine. The show was fine. The show is just your run-of-the-mill standard WWE production. And that's where my problem lies. You're not seeing anything new with these shows. You want my real honest opinion? I mean, I don't really cover NXT much anymore because I can't fucking stand it. I mean, they drastically changed everything that I loved about the show, and I just don't feel like coming back. This was a last-minute decision to cover this show. The more I watched this show, the more I actually regretted coming on here and doing this live stream, but I had already set it up, and I didn't want to disappoint you guys. I don't like this show. I don't like NXT. There are talents on this show that I absolutely love. I love Roxanne Perez. I think she's great, especially, the ladies there, Roxanne Perez, Nikita Lyons, Zoe Stark is growing on me a little bit. I love Kayden and Casey Carter. Casey Catanzaro. Casey Carter. Katana Chance. Fucking name change. Casey Catanzaro and Kayden Carter. They're great. Right? Tiffany Stratton is going to be so good. There are ladies on that. Cora Jade. She's going to come along too. There are ladies on that roster. They got a very, very bright women's division. Then you got the men's side. Bron Breakker's great. Grayson Waller. It's going to take a little bit for the fans. That was another problem with this match. The fans really weren't invested in this thing. Very lukewarm at best. I think they all kind of gave their energy to Dijak and Wes Lee in the opener, and they were nowhere to be found the rest of the fucking show. Grayson Waller is going to take a little bit of patience. He's talented as fuck. Right? Tony D'Angelo's great. The only legit character on the show that I actually think is a great character. Tony D'Angelo. Von Wagner's even got some upside. Haven't seen him in a little bit. Carmelo Hayes goes without saying. There's a lot of talent. Wes Lee's great. Dijak is great. A lot of great talent on that show. But it's the way that they mold this talent and put them on the show. The writing, the ambiance, the look, the feel, the vibe of NXT. It doesn't sit with me anymore. It doesn't resonate with me anymore. It's bright. It's happy. It's fucking cheesy. The writing's fucking inorganic. It's unnatural. I mean, I watched Black and Gold, and you saw adults saying and speaking like adults, doing adult things. The crowd is different from the PC, from Full Sail University. I got people telling me, it's the same crowd. It ain't the same fucking crowd. Oh, the bus picks them up from Full Sail and brings them to the PC. It's a different audience. That audience is not watching this shit anymore. They're watching AEW now. They're traveling down to Jacksonville. They're not fucking traveling from Full Sail to the Performance Center anymore. Those aren't the same fucking people. This is a brand new breed of people. But this is a lackluster production. There's no character to this show anymore. None. There's no identity. It's like a main roster production. It's their farm system now. I hope that changes when you got guys like Dragon Lee coming in. It could be your farm system, but don't give me this fucking comedy, campy, fucking character-riddled bullshit that's never going to get over on the main roster. Wrestling is an ever-evolving sport. One year we want characters, and we want more characters and character development. Then the next year we want nothing but in-ring. It's got to be a 5-star classic. Slow the matches up with dream matches. This year it's storytelling. This year it's something that I've always pushed, long-term booking. People want stories. This is why WWE is hot right now. Stories. You give them stories, you give them continuity, you give them a reason to come back and watch every week, the people will show up. There's no reason to watch this NXT. There's nothing grabbing you by the balls, taking you in. There's nothing asking you, hey, you want to watch pro wrestling done right? No. That was black and gold. This is Triple H not doing anything to fix the show and leaving it in the hands of Shawn Michaels, who doesn't really know what to do. He's all over the fucking place. He's basically been given free reign to do whatever the fuck he wants, and I don't think he's got a proper team there that knows what the fuck they're doing. These shows deserve a lot better than what we've been given. Nothing's sticking. And they just feel like, let's put out a wrestling show. Let's put out a show Tuesday night. Let's put on Vengeance Day. I mean, I'm glad that they got out of the Performance Center. That added a whole lot of new to the show. I wasn't hearing Fight Forever chants and holy shit chants and fucking cringy Florida chants that only that audience knows. I'm glad that new people got a taste of WWE. Hopefully, the more that they do that, the more this brand will catch fire. But this show didn't present you anything new. It's the same shit that you usually see on Tuesday night. It's the same shit that you usually see on a Monday night with lesser-known talent. Meanwhile, when you got a takeover, you were basically given a fucking WrestleMania-like show every fucking quarter. Every takeover was riddled with long-term booking. Every takeover was carefully fucking cultivated to give you 5 matches, the best of the best, the top of the top, the cream of the crop, and long-term booking. They knew they had you going into that takeover. They knew you were going to get a great show. Everybody knew. It was absolutely breathtaking in every sense of the word. I haven't felt that way about a fucking show since that show died. And I'm sorry if I keep comparing this NXT to the old NXT, but this was nowhere even close. This is not NXT. I don't know what this is. It's actually an embarrassment that this is even described as NXT. You got little glimpses here and there, but this ain't my NXT. The fuck is this? I rarely watch the show on Tuesday night in full. I watch clips on YouTube. I don't need to watch this fucking shit on Tuesday night. I miss nothing. 5.56 out of 10 is Vengeance Day. We'll see where they go into Stand and Deliver. We got Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker already on the cards for that. Maybe we get Roxanne Perez and Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Women's title. Outside that, I don't really care. I don't really care. I'm sure you guys don't care either. We're going to get into the Super Chats in just a little bit. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this Saturday night. Please hit that thumbs up. I would love to get 750 likes minimum on tonight's show. Super Chats are open. Get them on in. Memberships are open. Apply to become a part of the VIP club. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Go check out all the other videos on the channel. Everything you need is on the homepage. And tonight's show sponsored by Manscaped. You guys know the deal about Manscaped. Manscaped.com, code SCRIPT20 at checkout to save 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped just came out with the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. They are now revolutionizing men's grooming in a completely different way. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature look to any way you want. And you guys can do that via manscaped.com using code SCRIPT20 at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. That's one hell of a fucking deal. You're going to get the Beard Hedger. This thing is amazing. 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard. So no more accessories, no more components laying around your bathroom in drawers all loose. It's great. No more add-ons. It's all on the Beard Hedger itself. 20 hair cutting lengths. It's titanium coated with a T-blade, tough enough on hair but smooth on your face in one single stroke. It's waterproof so you could use it in the shower. And you're going to look great. I used it right before the Hog Show. I love it. It's great. Then they got their beard shampoo and conditioner. Got to take care of your beard, man. Everybody's beard, everybody's hair is different. Your beard hair is more coarse and easier to damage than hair on your head, so please take care of that with some beard shampoo and conditioner. Then they got the beard oil. They got beard balm. And they're going to give you 3 free gifts as well. A beard brush, a comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. This is the best gift, the best box, the best pro kit that Manscaped has ever come out with. Easy. And you guys can get it for 20% off. Free shipping, manscaped.com. Code SCRIPT20. The Beard Hedger, one stroke, one guard, 20 lengths. Love it. Let's get into the Super Chats. Joseph Taylor. $3 Super Chat. JD, the wrestling moment they made you go, oh my God. I don't know, man. Probably something Johnny and Ciampa take over Black and Gold or something like that. I don't know. Oh my God, man. I was saying oh my God a lot watching Black and Gold. Munchie Time with a $4.99. The intro from Charlotte Flair, which I didn't even talk about because I thought it was nauseating, was a carbon copy of The Rock's Super Bowl Chiefs 49ers intro. Keep up the great work, JD. Cheers. Thank you, Munchie Time. Yeah, Charlotte was the only... Charlotte was a downfall for the show. Charlotte was only there because it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Ha, yeah, that's great. We see her enough on Friday night. We don't need to see her on Saturday night or Tuesday night or Monday night. One night is enough for the Android. The Dud. 2 months. Thank you, Dud. Appreciate you, brother. Here's what I think of the women's blood and guts. A heel Ruby Soho, Saraya, Toni Storm, and Mercedes Moné against Sheeta, Willow, Baker, and Jamie Hayter. I like it. I like it. They want to add 5? Maybe they add Athena. Also, do you think Adam Cole will be babyface moving forward? Yes, I do, Dud. Absolutely. Grimsley with a $5 super chat. Bron may be one of the fastest wrestlers I've seen. Gigi and Jacey are very mid. Great tag team match. And as you may know, Katana and Kayden losing hurt me. Now, you'll live, bro. You'll wake up tomorrow and the sun will be shining in your face, man. It's all right. They may be getting a main roster call-up. Who knows? Dud with another $2 super chat. I want Darby Allin versus Powerhouse Hobbs one-on-one. Then you want Darby to be fucking broken in half, I see. Tenario with a 5. What's up, JD? Boy, do I miss the old days of getting hyped for the takeover shows 5 or 6 years ago. Ah, man, I miss it. I miss it. I can't stand it. I can't stand these fucking mid-shows, bro. Hologram with a $5 super chat. I got banned on WWE's Twitch channel for saying in the chat that NXT Black and Gold is greater than NXT. Fuck them. Hashtag OTS for life. Who banned you, bro? Did some geek? Did WWE ban you? I mean, bro, whoever enjoys NXT nowadays, let them enjoy it. They're fucking clueless. They're just clueless. They're clueless Gen Zers, bro. They don't know any better. Tony Brown with a $1.99. There was meat, JD. Yes, there was, Tony Brown. Lots of it. Lots of it. Tenario, $5 super chat. JD, what are your top 3 NXT TakeOver main events? Basically, all Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. And then Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, TakeOver New York. Grimsley with a $2 super chat, trying to watch SmackDown and turned it off at NASCAR. Yeah, that was a little campy. I don't really care about that. DGK Dog with a $4.99. I heard complaints before the show. They were doing a steel cage match between Becky and Bayley on Raw, so close to NXT tonight in the main event. I don't know, man. It may be the same steel cage traveling about. They're only going to be in Orlando on Monday. It's probably the same fucking cage they'll use on Monday night. M. Skirata with a 5. Hi. Tom from Germany here. Always great to get your point of view. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Tom. From Germany. Appreciate you and the $5, brother. Wrestling is art with a $2 super chat. Mello versus Braun is going to be a banger. Mello wins. Yes. Joseph Taylor with a $3 super chat. JD, what are your top 3 RVD matches? I don't know, man. Probably something with Sabu. Probably all of them with Sabu. I don't remember which ones and which events they were. John Cena was definitely up there for sure at One Night Stand 2006. What a fucking environment that was. Holy shit. Man, we'll never get that back. Jeremy Slapnut with a $1.99. JD couldn't save his mom driving his digital car. Get this guy out of here. This guy sucks. Goodbye, Jeremy Slapnut. It's not a digital car, you fucking prick. It's actually the real thing. You wouldn't know because I'm sure you're fucking jobless. Get him out of here. Thank you for donating $1.99, by the way, for bro. I'm going to be using that to buy myself a nice grande Irish cream cold brew at Starbucks. Thank you. Thank you for feeding my coffee addiction. Grimsley with a $2 super chat. Gigi and Jacey missing spots. Q's, poor Roxanne. Yeah, they're not good, bro. They're not, bro. They're not good at all. Eugene Morgan. Eugene Morgan, thank you for your generosity, brother. $10 super chat. I don't give a crap about NXT. I just make sure I tune in whenever there's a JD stream on. And by the way, that Eiffel 65 I'm Blue remix that WWE played on Raw is now on my playlist. I love it. Okay, it was all right. Not my cup of tea, bro. And Christy Wilson with a $1.99 super chat. Roxanne Perez is a star. Yes, she is. I could do without all the smiling, though. It gets a little annoying. You don't got to smile everywhere, and this is not the type of match you're going to be smiling in. These are the two women you want to beat the shit out of, and she's smiling. There's a place to smile, and there's a place to not smile. This was not a place where she should have been smiling. Anyway, guys. I appreciate you all hanging out tonight. NXT Vengeance Day in the books. Very mid, very mid. Really nothing special about it. And we are going to see what happens tomorrow night. We got some news. We got some news about WWE's potential sale. News coming out of a Nick Khan interview that happened on CNBC. I don't know, man. I don't know. Very suspect. Nick Khan's a very suspect individual, bro. We'll talk about it tomorrow night. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for earlier as well. Tremendous stream for SmackDown. And I will see you guys live tomorrow night from the venue for episode 463, I believe it is. We'll be live tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Podcast going live, as usual, on Sunday night. Joseph Taylor with a $2 super chat. JD, imagine MJF from the Hammerstein Ballroom. Oh, my God, it would be a beautiful thing. A beautiful sight. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your Saturdays and Sundays. I will see you tomorrow night live at 8 p.m. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up on your way out. I'm going to need you guys to leave me some emojis in the chat. Let me see those rock on emojis, those ace emojis, those Mustang emojis. And I want to hear that music turned up to max. I'll see you guys live tomorrow night right here on Off the Script. See you guys later.